Battlefield 6 is one of the best first-person shooter games I've played in years. And I'm a Call of Duty fan. So I do want to acknowledge right off the rip here that this is technically a first impressions video. It's not really a full review because I need more time with the whole package. I have not played campaign. I haven't messed around with Portal at all. I've just played a bunch of the multiplayer. So I need more time with the full package to do a full review. Depending on how well this video does and how well Battlefield content on this channel does, I might do a full review later on down the line. But this is kind of an initial impressions and kind of my take as a Call of Duty player into Battlefield 6. So first of all, I want to say that these small maps and modes are a great transition from Call of Duty. From somebody who has primarily played Call of Duty and you haven't played a lot of Battlefield like myself, I have played Battlefield over the years, just not extensively. Going from Call of Duty into these small map modes like Domination and King of the Hill and just TDM and Squad TDM and a more confined play space makes that transition much easier to get used to the gunplay and some of the base mechanics. So I highly recommend that, and I'm a big fan that they have that in this game. Another thing that I really want to point out here is that if you are a Call of Duty player coming to Battlefield, again, with little to no experience, I really recommend jumping into either the engineer or the support roles rather than assault or recon. I think that, and I'm going to get into this in a second, but I think that that is much more important for the overall assistance of the team, especially in the larger modes, than playing those other two operators, because importance of helping your team and playing objective matters so much in this game. Call of Duty fans, like myself, it's going to be very hard to go into this game and not want to just dump kills on the other team and play very, very hard to get high kill streaks, good KD, etc. My KD right now is hovering around a 1.6. It doesn't really matter what your KD is in Battlefield. Objective play and helping your team matters so much. And if you're playing as a engineer or a support role, it's much easier to do because you can focus on taking down enemy tanks and vehicles, or you can focus on being there to supply and res your teammates as they go down. And I think that that's a really good entry-level way to get into Battlefield, be helping your team without putting in a lot of effort, and still learning everything around you. Another thing that I really recommend and have strong opinions on, look, the menus in this game are straight up garbage in a lot of ways. This Hulu having, Modern Warfare 2 2022 having, menu system 2023, whatever that game came out, 2022. It's terrible. It's terrible. So the settings in this game are important, and there's a lot to go through. So especially if you're a controller player coming from COD, really take the time to look up some YouTube videos and kind of hone in your settings on controllers. It took me probably a good 3 hours of testing things and playing and coming back and testing and playing before I was like, all right, I think my controller settings are where I want them. And honestly, even now I could probably tune some other stuff, but really look into that because it definitely, the gunplay feels really good. The guns also feel really good. I've had a few weapons where I'm like, I don't really like this. And it's crazy because there's a lot of guns. There's 57, I think, something like that. And I've used a lot of the ARs that I've gotten unlocked anyways. A lot of the ARs, a lot of the carbines, and I've messed around with sniper rifles. Haven't really touched SMGs at all. LMGs are fun to use. They just, there's a good variety and they feel good and very different from Call of Duty, which is a good thing. Don't knock a weapon class because you don't like it in Call of Duty. In Call of Duty, I hate using sniper rifles and I hate using LMGs. Those two things in this game are a lot of fun to me. I enjoy both of them a lot. So, and I typically like SMGs in Call of Duty, but I haven't really found a good fit for that yet in Battlefield. So, just kind of try out new things, see what you think. I think the gunplay in general just feels really good. I think the guns feel really good. They did a good job with balancing. I guess my only gripe is it kind of feels like attachments don't play a big role yet, but I don't have a lot unlocked, so I'm gonna have to give that more time as well. Leading into that last thing I just said, the sniper rifle, the very first one you get unlocked, the only one I have right now, that sniper rifle feels a little too weak in my opinion. The only way, from what I can tell, that you can get a one-shot kill is if it's a headshot. Not a big fan of that. I can understand, maybe not a one-shot from like below the chest, but like chest and up, I think should be a one-shot kill with a sniper rifle, and it's currently just not. That's frustrating. Maybe the other 2 sniper rifles are a lot more powerful, but based on the stats, it didn't look like the second sniper rifle was more powerful. So we'll see. I would like to see some sort of a way to improve that, but I'm not a pro at Battlefield. I don't understand their weapon balancing, so maybe I'm out of line for saying that. So I mentioned the game modes earlier, the small game modes. Those are a lot of fun, but the large-scale game modes that I have found the most enjoyment in has been the new mode Escalation. The Escalation game mode is so much fun to me. It's basically like, it's kind of like Conquest, but it feels a lot more confined because it's not based off of team lives. It's based off of holding objectives, kind of like Domination. And then as the objectives, or as the time starts to dwindle, the objectives start to shrink. You have less objectives to hold. And at the very end of the game, you have all 64 players packed into 3 objectives, fighting over 3 objectives. And you have more vehicles spawning in, you have more chaos, and there's more kills to be had and more engagement there. Maybe that's the COD brain rot in me, but I love that game mode so much, so I'm happy that that's been added to the game. Although one downside that I will mention, for some reason, in all of my Escalation game time, it's getting filled with bots. Not fully, but it's getting filled like, I don't know, maybe like a third of the way with bots, sometimes half full with bots, and I don't know why. It's October 11th as I'm recording this. The game came out yesterday, and for some reason it's having problems filling the lobbies. Maybe I would imagine it's a bug. There were 700,000 people on yesterday that I saw as a peak, and it's probably more than that. And that was just on Steam. So like, I don't really know why that's an issue, but that's something that'll probably get worked out in the long run. Vehicles are a steep learning curve, and honestly, I don't think that vehicles are for me. Using them to get from point A to point B, that's fine, don't mind that, but I don't know that I'm ever going to be a guy driving around blowing shit up in a tank or flying over with a jet or a helicopter. I just don't think I'm good at that and ever will be. But that's all right, you know, that's one thing about Battlefield that I think is really good. It does cater to so many different playstyles. Unlike Call of Duty, you really have one way to play the game, and that's, you know, to just get a bunch of kills and do as good as you possibly can. Battlefield has just such a variety, which I love, and vehicles is not for me. Although, I do love to destroy them. The ones on the enemy team, love shooting them out the sky, love blowing them up in the street. That's a lot of fun. I think I'll just stick to that. This goes without saying. I mean, Battlefield seems to knock it out the park every time, but the audio and the visuals are fantastic. I've never played a shooter game where the audio helped me so much in the multiplayer experience. So much. They've done a great job. I can hear where enemies are all the time when they're close to me. It's not a... Call of Duty, I feel like whenever you're playing multiplayer, the audio helps, but only to an extent. Like, there's so many times where I get killed by somebody where I thought I heard them, you know, the room over or outside the building, and they were right next to me, and that happens a lot. But it doesn't happen in here. I don't know. The audio just seems to make more sense. Also, me personally, I'm a challenge guy. I love challenges. I love having a slew of things to work on in a game, and this game has it. It has tons of challenges, badges, there's camos, there's vehicle challenges, there's operator challenges, so much to do. The level up system feels very rewarding too. It doesn't feel like you're flying through levels super fast. There's a nice balance to be had. In a game like this, I think that the leveling system is pretty much perfect. It feels very rewarding. And honestly, on another note, you know, the camos in the game, which I'm a big camo guy, for a game like Battlefield, I think that they've done the camos perfectly. It just makes the most sense for each gun to be mastered, which is, you know, you just basically use the weapon and level it up. That's basically what you do. You use the weapon a bunch, and it takes a long time. And that's how you master the weapon to unlock camos. It doesn't require you to do, you know, 5 kill streaks or a bunch of headshots or cover kills or slide kills or anything of the sort. It's just strictly based off of using the weapon. And I've kind of already said this, but ultimately the only real negative thing that I have about this game is the menus. The menus are terrible. They're awful. Whoever designed this menu concept in both Hulu, now Battlefield, and then also Call of Duty, you deserve to be fired. You should be canned and not allowed to work on a game or a media source at all ever again. Ever. But ultimately, this is the end of this video. That is my initial take on Battlefield 6. It's fantastic. It's the most fun I've had playing a Battlefield game. literally ever. My opinion on that might be different if I played Battlefield 3 and 4 heavily. I did play those games when they came out, but I didn't play them a lot. I probably have more time in Battlefield 6 now than I did in either one of those games. So Battlefield 6 is a lot of fun. If you used to play Battlefield and you're wondering if it's worth it, yes, it absolutely is. If you have never played Battlefield and you're wondering how it's going to feel coming from Call of Duty, it is very different. It is very different, and it is much more difficult in a lot of ways, but you have to change the way that you think about a shooter game, a multiplayer shooter game. Don't come into Battlefield thinking Call of Duty. Come into Battlefield thinking, we're going to win a game. We're going to focus on objectives. I'm going to focus on helping my team, and we're going to do everything that we can to win this game. Destroy vehicles, help teammates, take objectives. That's how you play Battlefield. Let me know what you guys think about the video. Hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. I appreciate you. Deuces.